Right. I believe we are now live streaming on YouTube. So good evening and welcome to Wincanton Town Council full council meeting on the 26th of October, and it is now 7:03. So apologies that we are 3 minutes late. We had issues around transition. So thank you and welcome tonight. So tonight we have an interesting agenda. Fortunately, due to issues with the agenda that was shared, we have to do some amendments, which I will do shortly after we've done the first 3 elements of the agenda. So in the first instance, I would like to remind members of the public that are joining our meeting under public participation that each member of the public has 3 minutes. And during those 3 minutes, we will be asking you to, in accordance with our standing orders 3E and H, to comply with those and address questions to council and to not verbally abuse, bully or harass a member of council. Thank you for that. In addition, before we move on, I would first like to confirm who's on the call, and then for you to put your hand up and confirm you've received papers for this meeting. So the first person I'm going to go to, Councillor Ralph, have you received papers?
Yes, I have.
Councillor Smith, have you received papers? He's put his hand up. Councillor Vag, thank you. Councillor Waters, thank you. Councillor Tudgay?
Yes.
Councillor Thomas, thank you. Councillor Power?
Yeah.
Thank you. So they are the representatives that are here currently on our call. I've received I received 2 apologies. One was Councillor Power, so welcome. And the second was Councillor Greening, who won't be here tonight. Okay. So the first element prior to going into the full agenda is public participation. So I would ask that if you're a member of the public and you wish to speak, please can you unmute yourself now. Hello, Emma Hicks, do you wish to speak? Do you wish to do it on camera or do you wish, there you go.
Yes, hello, sorry, I didn't want to be at camera on the start of the thing. Yes, thank you. I wanted to appear tonight just to talk briefly about the skate park and some of the concerns that have been raised by residents. First of all, I just wanted to say what a fantastic resource I think that the skate park is. As a youth worker who's been working with young people for some 25 years, I'm really pleased to see that our town has invested so much in its young people. It's really positive and I hope to see that continue. At the last town council meeting, there was talk of setting up a working group to address some of those concerns raised by residents. And again, I just wanted to say how impressed I was to see the town council take such a positive approach towards working with young people and looking at ways to include them in their community, because that's really important, I believe. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to offer my skills and experience as a youth worker to help in any way I can to support the town council taking that forward. I started my own career as a young person attending one of Wincanton Town Council's meetings to represent myself with my friends when residents were concerned about our behaviour, and it seemed like a really nice way to return the favour by coming back in and offering my support now that I'm older and have got a lot more experience to give. So that's why I attended tonight, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Emma, appreciate that. So I'm not aware currently we have any other members of the public who wish to speak. So at that point, I wish to close public participation. Emma, you're welcome to stay, but if you wish to leave, you may also do so. And we want to thank you for your participation tonight. And we will make your comments, include your comments in the further discussion on the agenda tonight and at other points. So thank you for that. So moving into the formal part of the agenda, apologies. So I am only aware of one apology, and that is Councillor Greening. Does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're still missing. Who else are we missing? No one? Or is it my maths that are completely short?
No, I think we've got everyone.
All right. Well, in which case then I give up. So thank you for that. Apologies, is Councillor Greening. Then we move into declaration of interest. So this item is to declare any interest councillors may have in any item on the agenda in accord with the requirements of the Council Code of Conduct. So can I ask, on the agenda, is there any aspects of the agenda you wish to draw our attention to? No? So I have no councillors raising their hand to raise a declaration of interest in any aspects of the agenda. So thank you for that. Now, tonight, the agenda that was published isn't the agenda that was the final agenda. So there are some amendments we now need to make to the agenda, and some items on the agenda that will now be moved back to the next meeting. So I'm just going to go through that now. So verbally, I've said that under our standing orders, which are 1G, amendments shall not be considered unless early verbal notice is given in the meeting, if requested by the chairman of the meeting or in advance, expressed in advance of the meeting to the chairman. So, and also 1E, where amendment is a proposal to remove or add words to a motion, it shall not negate the motion. So under those standing orders, the following I wish to either move back to the next meeting or an appropriate meeting and or amend. So the first one to move back is number 10, the finance report. That will be moving to our next meeting as council. The next item is item 11, planning. Locum Clerk. Do I need to do a proposer on each of these, or can I do a proposer and a seconder and a vote for all of the items that need to move back?
Do all of them.
Okay, on all of them. That's great. I just wanted to make sure for clarity purposes. So planning committee terms of reference will be moving back, and we'll vote on that in a moment. And the other one that's moving back is the precept number 14. So that's moving to a future agenda item. So I'll do that first, and then I'll do the amendment, if I may, because the amendment is different. So the motion we now have is I'm looking to propose and looking for a seconder to move 10, 11 and 14 to our next meeting. I'm proposing it as chairman. Do I have a seconder, please? Councillor Power. And can I have a vote if you are for moving the items forward? So can I ask that you clearly put your hand up? So I have Councillor Power, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, and Councillor Ralph and Councillor Shelbourne-Barrows. So that's 4, and there are no councillors who are against. Thank you for that. The next item that I wish to amend, because the title was incorrect, is on point 12. The proposed one that didn't actually make it onto the final agenda was Community Development Working Group Youth Outreach. And this is to appoint 5 councillors to the membership of the working group and to note a verbal update. So this working group is almost like a task and finish group. Once we've been through a process, we will then end that working group. So it's a short-term working group, I envisage it to be, and it's to appoint 5 councillors. The item that is on the agenda, so can I do that first? And then I'll talk to you. Yes.
Can I just ask a question?
Yes, please do.
In 12, so does that now read Community Development Working Group Youth Outreach terms of reference goes, does it?
Terms of reference is the one that I want to move back to another meeting, but I'm amending it. So we can either amend it and not negate the motion, because it will come back, if that's okay. In our standing orders, the wording implies you do that. Sorry for the confusion here, councillors. And it is to appoint 5 councillors to the membership of the working group and to note a verbal update.
Okay.
So what I'm looking for, I'm proposing that as an amendment to the motion. Can I have a seconder, and then we'll vote as council if you're for the amendment. So Councillor Vagg has said she's supporting the motion. She's seconding the motion. So those councillors that are voting for, can I ask that you clearly put your hands up? So this is to amend the motion 12.
Yeah, fine.
Here we go. So we have Councillor Power for, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrett and Councillor Ralph are for, and I'm not aware of anyone against. So that motion has carried. We can amend it, and those that we want move forward are moving forward. So you may need to keep me on track because I'm working across 2 agendas now just to make sure we cover everything.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So the next item on the agenda, having recorded that, those that are moving forward on that amendment, is the minutes of the previous meeting. So this is to receive and sign the minutes of the Zoom meeting held on Monday, the 12th of October, in accordance with our standing orders 12C. So colleagues have received the minutes on 0035. Do any councillors have any comments on page 1? Oh, can't turn the page. Page 2, 0036. Page 3, 0037. Page 4, 0038. Page 5, 0039. And the last page is 0040, where the last element is the date, dated the 26th of October 2020. So I've not heard any, no councillors have put their hand up wishing to make an amendment to the minutes. So can I have then a proposer, please, for the minutes? Councillor Ralph, and a seconder, Councillor Smith. And can I ask that we vote for, if you vote for, the minutes on the Monday, the 12th of October, as sent to you via the Deputy Clerk. So we have Councillor Power for, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrett and Councillor Ralph. So I believe that motion is carried. Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda, which is planning. So can I invite Councillor Thomas to speak to planning, please?
There you go. Okay, 4 items. I have 20/02548/HOU, alterations and extension to the rear ground floor elevation, part two-story extension to create new kitchen and utility room, additional bedroom on the first floor, and installation of 3 roof lights to the rear pitched roof, and this is at the Firs on Bayford Hill. There are no comments, there are no objections. It's at the rear of the building. It's not in view. It's not in plain sight from anywhere except in the garden of the house. The house is an Edwardian house with some apparently very poor 1950s additions, whereas this extension is going to be sympathetic and in keeping with the style of the building. I personally couldn't see any issues with it, but I don't know whether anybody else has a view.
And can I open it up to comment for councillors to comment, please? Any comments? So there was nothing on the website at all?
Nothing at all, no, nothing at all.
So this is, so in terms of how if we have no comments from council, how would you like this? Councillor Tudgay?
I would like to propose that we recommend approval, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So we have a proposal on approval. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Power, do you wish to second? Thank you. And can I have a vote in support of approval, please, if you support approval? So I have Councillor Power. Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow and Councillor Ralph. Thank you. Have you noted that, Locum Clerk?
Yes, all noted.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Second one is 20/02679/HOU, which is the slightly confusing wording this, but the erection of a detached residential outbuilding on 66 High Street. After a bit of looking at it, it turns out it's a shed. So the residential bit is a bit misleading. It's already a bit of hard standing inside the front garden of a house. And I think they just want to turn it into basically a garage with an up and over door, small roof light and a side window that doesn't show onto the neighbour's sort of house at all. So I couldn't see anything. There's no objections, there's no comments.
Council, any comments or views? Councillor Ralph.
Just to say, I'm glad Councillor Thomas cleared that up, because I did have to read it all really carefully.
It was very.
It is a garage, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, because I looked at it and I thought, who the hell's going to live in that? There's a tiny weeny window in the roof, and that's it. But so anyway, yeah.
How did that get through then? If it's not a residency, but
Well,
it's down.
I don't know why, unless it's some kind of, maybe they have to put it in. I don't know. It looks like a plain mistake to me, actually. I don't think it can be. I don't see the point of putting residential outbuilding. Oh, Locum Clerk, hello.
Yeah.
The only thing I can give in that is it might be that it's within the residential curtilage.
Right.
All
That would
right,
make
okay.
sense. It is in their front garden.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing is we've had no comments that are recorded on the SSDC planning portal. So if there's no other comments from council, can I ask for those, do we have a proposer for this particular application? Councillor Waters, a seconder, Councillor Power, and a vote, please. Those for or supportive of the application. So I have Councillor Power, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Ralph. Thank you. I believe that's four. That's a full set. So thank you.
Full set.
Next
Thank you.
item.
Our next item is 20/02921/TPO, Tree Preservation Order, application to carry out tree surgery works at number 1 tree, as shown within South Somerset District Council. Manor Gardens. It's tree surgery. I don't know anything about that, so to be honest. So,
Right, Councillor Tudgay, you wish to speak?
We don't normally
Comment.
comment on tree
No.
surgery work. We just it's normally just noted.
okay. Thank
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. So Locum Clerk, can we just note
Yes, we can.
02921? Thank you. And the final,
Finally, 20/02702/HOU, the erection of a single-story extension to the rear of a dwelling, number 30 Kale Way. Again, it's basically another rear extension. It's extending a sort of kitchen extension as it is already. They're using the end of their garage and making what looks like their garage smaller. From what I can tell. There are no comments, there are no objections. It doesn't look like it's going to be in plain view or an eyesore or anything, so I would be minded to accept it or vote for it, but
okay.
no one knows any different.
Any questions or comment from council? If not, can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Tudgay and a seconder, Councillor Smith, and can I have a vote if you're for? So Councillor Power, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, Councillor Ralph. So I understand that motion, that is carried.
Yes, correct.
No one's against. Thank you. Do you have any further comments from South Somerset District Council at all?
No,
Sir Thomas?
no, that's it.
Thank you. We'll close that session. Thank you for that, Councillor Thomas. We move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the checklist, which is point 5, to approve the list of payments and then to nominate 2 councillors to sign the check. So having gone through the list, are there any questions from council? No? So if there are no questions from council, can I have a proposer, please? But Councillor Ralph, and a seconder is Councillor Smith, and a vote if it's for. So Councillor Power, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tugay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Ralph. Are you against or for? You're for. Thank you. Thank you. So that, I believe, is carried.
Carried.
In terms of 2 individuals who are authorised to sign cheques, can I ask for 2 volunteers to sign the cheques tomorrow, if possible? So, I have, that was a quick one, Councillor Tugay. I have Councillor Waters and Councillor Vagg, is that correct? Yes, Councillor Vagg? You're muted, I'm sorry, I can't.
I said I thought I'd got my hand down
Quickly enough.
Get away with the job, but never mind.
So what I believe I've understood is Councillor Waters and Councillor Vagg will sign the cheques tomorrow or the day after. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Both put their hands up in to confirm that as well. Moving on to verbal reports. So we have a representative from the County Council here today. Would you like to speak?
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, can I thank you very much for inviting me to the Wincanton Sports Ground meeting, and congratulations on such a really good meeting. It was very informative. Public health report to me on a regular basis. The numbers for COVID seem reasonably stable, and the positive cases are much lower, as you will realise, in Somerset than anywhere else. I'd like to thank all you residents who respect the guidelines: wash your hands, wear a mask and keep your distance. The County Council have 125,000 to support children over half term. The number to call if you've any queries whatsoever is 0300 790 6275, and that's for any queries of any sort, businesses or anything. It's open from 8 AM till 6 PM.
Thank you.
The climate change strategy was published this week, and I hope that you have found it informative. There's applications for grants between £5,000 and £75,000 for communities who can make a difference to our climate. Somerset Community Foundation also have a grant funding of £2,500 to any community groups who need help at this time, especially with COVID things, if their turnover is less than £100,000. In your Wincanton regeneration, I don't know whether you've looked at 20 miles an hour again, but it's still in your small improvement scheme, and I've left it there until you tell me otherwise. I have nothing else to report. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And we will look to see what we can do to publicise that grant that you were talking about in terms of the 15 to 75, but also the half-term pot of money as well, because I know that's causing concern for some families in the town, as it's been brought to our attention. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. I've just realised I was remiss in not stating that Councillor Winder had sent his apologies. So can I now record, due to my inability to remember it at the time, that Councillor Winder submitted his apologies for tonight?
Yes.
I haven't received any other apologies from district councillors, but just the one. In terms of a chairman's report, I'll move into that. And can I ask those individuals who represent outside bodies to think about if you wish to speak after I've completed my few moments. Thank you. So as chairman of council, it's been a really interesting few weeks. There are a number of exciting projects that have come to the fore from members of the public, one of which being the town crier, which is gaining momentum with people offering their time to help make the outfit, to Also looking at how we might promote the town crier if approved through council, personnel and council. So, but what is heartening is that individuals are coming forward with good ideas that actually help attract people into our town and promote our history, and potentially it's an opportunity to think completely differently about what we do and how we do it. So thank you for that. In addition, we have a community fridge arriving tomorrow to the town council, and a location for that fridge to be located, which is really very exciting. That was in our Wincanton for the Future plan, and the money came from donations from the public. So again, we have local businesses supporting that initiative, and I think that will be part of our town offer going forward for everyone. Anyone can access the food that will be in that particular community fridge. So you'll hear more about that as we go into November, when it's established and we start promoting it. So thank you. We had also this, since the last meeting, the stakeholder group has met, and also WEEP, and we're looking at other projects within the Wincanton for the Future plan, how we might then be able to strengthen our offer to the town in terms of our residents, but also look for exciting things to draw people into our town and increase the footfall, which, as we all know, is something we're looking to enable our businesses to thrive. I attended a meeting that SSDC held this week via Zoom around the circular economy. And that is about thinking differently around our town, solar energy, reuse, repurpose. And I think there's lots of opportunities that we may need to think about as part of our regeneration plan. So that also links to an item in correspondence today. And it was really interesting because there are local businesses that were there, including Teals, who are going to be opening up soon, and how they are looking at what they do and how they do it in terms of water usage, using power from solar and other right materials on the building. Really amazing. To Wise Cheese, to other local businesses, again, talking the same language, which was really positive. I attended the One Somerset meeting, where, as you know, it's moving to a unitary, either one unitary or a version of, which again, really exciting, and so many opportunities for us as a town. In addition, towards the latter part of the week, last week, I attended a Rail to Trail project with Councillor Smith and Councillor Greening, who's not on the call today, to look at where there's opportunities to encourage people to experience nature and what that might mean in terms of funding for the future, but also what support we might need to give, and linking it into Wincanton Future. The Rail to Trail, or using that type of the old railway tracks, was one of our initiatives that we talked about. So that's an opportunity yet to be scoped and tested further with the public. In addition, I've had many calls over the last few weeks with the police, and these have been really positive calls about understanding holistically how we can support our young people, how we can look to the skate park and what that might look like in terms of supporting our young people and young adults who use the skate park, which is a fabulous resource. And as you heard, a member of the public came into our meeting today to actually note that and offer her expertise and training over the years to enable that community focus to happen. And I found that from those conversations with the police and local groups like the Bolson Centre, who we fund, the Hive, part fund the Hive project, youth project, that there are opportunities for us to look at how we work with all sectors across our community, but in particular with young people and holistically. So their voice needs to come strongly through. And we've got on the agenda tonight a short-term piece of work around youth outreach. And this is a beginning of a story, including the potential to do something like a skate jam next year in the park, working with the police and others. So this is really exciting for our young people and for us as a town. And I just want to note and recognise that, but also note and recognise we've had some COVID, and social distancing has caused us all some challenges. And that doesn't matter whether you're over a teenage year or into your 80s or 90s. It's caused us all to have to think differently, and it's how we go about working with our young people and understanding what support we may need to give to enable that to happen. And that's where this initiative has come from lots of voices and hopefully young people who want to be part of that. So more on that. So that's where I'm going to draw to a close the various exciting projects. I haven't spoken about the Troll tonight, but there's more to come on that as we move forward. So members of council who are a member of an outside body, is there anyone who wishes to speak about their engagement with an outside body? Councillor Waters, I invite you to speak.
I'd just like to say thank you very much to Councillor Grosskopf for the advice she gave me regarding the not live at home now, is it? Just the MA communities. They've lost some funding, and Councillor Grosskopf was very helpful in pointing me in the right direction, and also involving Councillor Winder. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. Anyone else who wishes to speak? No? Well, thank you very much for your time. And as we move forward now with your new job descriptions, councillors, when you're for road profiles, whatever terminology you want to go, I look forward to hearing more and as a two-way conversation, what we can take to the organisations that you're representing council at. So it'll be useful to hear that as we move forward. So I'll close number 6 on the agenda and move into police reports. So colleagues, you would have received the police report, which around antisocial behaviour and patrols at Kell Park. Does anyone have any comments around this? If not, we'll note it and we'll take this to the working group with engagement with young people in the town. No? Okay, so noting this and recognising that's what's driven the conversation about working differently with our young people and youth outreach, I will ensure that the comments, the issues that are coming through here, we actually look to identify within the working group as it develops, if supported. If not, this will be an ongoing conversation with the police and with the Bolson Centre, who currently have a youth outreach. Thank you for that. So moving on the agenda. Sorry, I've got to make sure I stay on the right agenda. So annual governance and accountability return, AGAR, number 8. So I just wanted to give you a very brief update on where we are with that. So in terms of AGAR and the first part of AGAR, which is a formal governance review of our financial policies, procedures and processes internally within the council, and also are looking at strengthening those and ensuring that the data, it's a reconciliation between how our budget ends every year and how it starts every year, and to ensure that we are promoting the right processes in terms of governance and policy for the spend of public money. So in terms of AGAR, we're moving forward with AGAR. We currently have the internal auditor reviewing policies, and we have undertaken a review through the accountant to look at 18-19 and reconciling the end of year into 19-20. That has been completed. And we've also obtained an extension into the early part of November from the external auditors to enable us to complete it, hopefully, and bring it back to council on the 9th of November for sign off with any action plan that is identified for us to complete. So positively, the work is ongoing and we're moving forward, and we should then bring it to full council on the 9th of November. Any questions in relation to that, councillors? Councillor Tudgay.
Are we going to have time with the new extension? I feel, without checking the date that Muriel sent today for the extension, I'm not sure that we're going to, that doing it on the 9th will allow us time to send the form away. I just wonder whether we ought to consider an extraordinary meeting late the week, the late on the Friday, Thursday or Friday of the previous week, to ensure that we get the AGAR to the external auditor on time.
Okay.
I just wonder if council should consider that. I think if you'll just excuse me a moment, I'll just check. Can't find it now.
I'll just grab.
Yes, the deadline's been amended to the 9th. So we really need to have the meeting before the 9th in order to get the form back to the external auditor on time. So can I suggest that we look at putting in an extraordinary meeting either on the Thursday or the Friday prior to that date?
Okay, I will. So we need 5 clear working days. As chairman, I can call an extraordinary meeting. The logic you've put forward is sound. Any other comments from council?
I mean, we need to be confident. We need to speak to our internal auditor and the people working on this to make sure that we will be ready in time before we call that meeting. But we need to get, I don't think we're going to get another extension somehow.
I think we were lucky to get the 9th, to be fair. I didn't expect to get the 9th. So what I would say is I will test that with our accountant and with our locum clerk to see if we can have a meeting in the latter part of the week commencing the 2nd of November, so we can take it so we can finalise it, and we can still report that it's gone in on the 9th, but then we meet, I don't know if it's on the 9th, it's 5 p.m. or midnight. That's the other thing, but I will check that. So the action, what I'm hearing in summary, and we'll vote on this in a moment, for and against, is that as a council, we're looking to meet our extension to the 9th of November by putting in an extraordinary meeting purely to sign the AGAR, which has to be minuted for each section, the 2 sections, in the latter part of the week commencing the 2nd of November. But first I need to check our internal and external auditors are okay with that, and we can complete that task. And we might then also, if I may, include an agenda item on our financial position. Councillor Vagg.
If it's got to be 5 clear days, it won't be the latter part of that week. It needs to be the beginning.
No, 5 clear days before, before the meeting. The papers have to go out on the 3rd to be 5 clear days. So that means we have to get it out this week, and we're not going to be able to do that.
No, so the 9th is the Monday. You can't count that. You can count the Saturday, the Friday, the Thursday, the Tuesday.
Yeah, the 3rd.
That's
we'll look into we'll look into that, because if we breach the 9th, which is why we were proposing to bring it in on the 9th, then we'll need to just recognise that we will do that, and we'll provide a statement as to why we've gone over that date if we can't deliver it on the 9th. But currently, Councillor Tudgay, I think what we're working to is the 9th, and Councillor Vagg's words of wisdom around the 5 clear days, meaning it needs to go out on the 2nd, would potentially not be achieved. So if we can't get the papers out by the 2nd and the internal and external auditor completed by then, we'll have to bring it to the 9th, and we'll just have to breach that date, but make them aware we're going to be late by a day, potentially.
Well, I see no reason why we can't get papers out the end of this week for the extraordinary meeting, of Thursday or Friday of the following week.
But
And
it's,
then if we approve the AGAR, we can then, that gives Muriel or whoever all day Monday to submit the form.
yeah, that
I don't see any problem.
I don't.
Okay.
Where's the problem?
the problem. The only issue I can see, Councillor Tudgay, is that there are two sections. There's the internal auditor section and the external auditor section. And if we can understand that the external auditor can receive the paperwork in enough time to complete it, then yes, we can achieve that. But if we can't get that agreement from the internal and external auditor to deliver it on the papers on the 3rd of November to go out, then we're at risk.
So sorry.
Sorry, not the 2nd, I beg your pardon.
The 9th. The deadline is the 9th.
Yes. The papers need to go out on the 3rd for 5 clear working days for a normal meeting. If we were to go out and put an extraordinary meeting in with 5 clear working days, that's going to be a challenge for us. I think we'd struggle to do that. So we have to work to the 9th, but make our...
Why is there a problem in getting the papers out later this week? We're on Monday now. Well, surely we could set the papers for Friday of this week for a meeting on the following Friday. I don't see the problem.
Chair,
Councillor Ralph.
is there some confusion about what will have to go out in those papers? Is that what's being said? So a work product won't be done
Potentially.
out in those papers.
Potentially. That's the risk.
Between you and Councillor Tudgay, maybe.
Yeah, because there are two elements to the AGAR, internal auditor that may be completed, but the external auditor may not. And that's the risk, that we may not have that.
I don't see
If
it.
I'm, pardon, Count Locum? Clark?
I don't see the problem. The internal auditor signs off the figures and everything else in your AGAR, and from then onwards, nothing happens until it goes to the auditor. The external auditor is the man in London.
Both have to be minuted though, and signed off. And yeah, we have to have both elements minuted. What I'm going to do is that from our previous meeting where we had 2-minute numbers for the internal and external minutes, minute number, they have to go to full council. And that's the bit that I was saying we'd need to get assurance that both elements can be completed so that we meet the date to get the papers through and out and back to us. So what I don't want to do is have and I'll look into this. I'm not saying it's not achievable, but if we have to have 2-minute numbers and we don't get the paperwork through and back to us to be able to take it to council to sign it off, then we'll end up having an extraordinary meeting for just one element, and we well as do it on the 9th and get both done. So the papers still need to go out on the 3rd to go to the 9th, to go any papers that need to go out the week of that week, beginning the 2nd, will need to be prepared this week, which is tomorrow. And I don't think we'll be able to achieve it if we're sharing the paperwork.
Can't see it.
I'll look into it, but all I'm saying is there are 2-minute numbers and we need that paperwork to be able to do it. And I'm not sure that it's ready for tomorrow to go out for next week with 5 working days.
Why does that have to be tomorrow, Chair?
Which part of the AGAR don't you think you'll have completed? You'll have completed both parts.
No, not necessarily to share tomorrow.
Why tomorrow, Sue?
5
Chair.
working days. Is it? Are you saying you want extraordinary?
We're on Monday now.
26th, yeah.
So if we share at the end of this week,
Only if we have the papers can we share them this week to go, and it has to be 5 clear working days. So it can't be the day we issue them, and it can't be the day we hold the meeting. So we need 5 clear days, which that's why we always issue on the 3rd, which is a Tuesday, for example, and they're for the following Monday meeting, because it has to be 5 clear days. I will look into it, but we need to first have a conversation.
Councillor
the-
Groscott would like to speak.
Yes,
Chair.
may I just finish and then I'll invite Councillor Groscott. I will check to see that the internal auditor complete the task, because we heard that we aren't still quite there yet, and that the external auditor can then complete their task on time so that we can get it, so we can hold an extraordinary meeting. Councillor Groscott?
Sorry, I didn't really want to interfere. I was just trying to give you advice so you could move on.
Yes,
probably,
thank you.
You actually, Madam Chairman, sort it out with the
Yeah.
accountant and the auditors tomorrow.
Yes,
and what
that's what
sequence you will have to have this so that everything is in place and with the external auditor by the 9th of November.
Yes, thank you.
You just want council to give you authority to do that. That's all.
Yes. So going back to, thank you for that. Going back to the original point, can I have a support to actually go and complete that conversation around the internal and external auditor, so we can bring the papers to the meeting on the 9th of November at the latest, to then sign off at full council, hopefully, because it's been through an internal and external, to then submit. And if I can get it beforehand, then obviously I'll make you aware, but recognising we're currently working to the 9th of November. Can I have a proposer for that, please? And then we'll do against. A proposer is Councillor Power. Are you seconding, Councillor Thomas?
Yes.
And can I have a for and against? So for. So I have Councillor Power, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay's left the meeting, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrett and Councillor Ralph. For and noting that Councillor Tudgay has left the meeting at this time. So there are no against, just noting that Councillor Tudgay isn't here, unless he's turning up in a moment. No. Okay, moving on to point 9, which is what has been called the lockdown plan, which for us is called the town offer. Councillor Tudgay, because you left the meeting, we voted and you were noted as not at your chair.
Yeah, I do apologise, Madam Chair. I had someone come to the door. I had to deal with it.
That's okay, no problem.
One of the problems of Zoom meetings.
Okay, so
I'm sure you've done the right thing, whatever.
Okay, thank you. So can I just make you aware that we voted for to work towards the 9th, to complete it on the 9th of November, but I'll make council aware. Okay, moving down the note, number 9, the lockdown plan, which for us is the town offer, and also we've looked at undertaking a risk assessment of the town council offices, community office and chamber. So because I'm fed up of my own voice now, would anyone else like to speak about our risk assessment that was shared today with council, having been completed very studiously by our deputy clerk? Anyone? Councillor Vagg, welcome to the floor. Would you like to give us an overview of where you think we are in our risks?
I think it's fine. There's going to be a lot more sanitizer, little portable bottles by the door and everything. The only thing that I commented back to our deputy clerk was on that they talk about keeping the windows open, and how practical that's going to be right through the winter, I do not know, because that's not the warmest office. We may end up having to give them some more heating.
Yes, thank you for that. I do also know those windows don't open very easily, so we might end up bringing a carpenter in. Councillor Tudgay.
I don't think they open at all, to be honest with you. I'm not sure that anybody's going to police this anyway. So I think Muriel's done a brilliant job so far, and we should just let her crack on with it.
Thank you. Councillor Vagg, you put your hand up to speak.
Yeah, they do open. Muriel managed to get them open the other week. She wasn't sure if they did or not, and she managed to get both of them open. So they are working.
Excellent, thank you. So in terms of the risk assessment for the office, community office, that's been completed, and we know the actions we need to undertake, but majority of it's been completed. And we're also recognising that the white door, the internal door, is kept closed. And the member of staff goes to the door with a mask on and speaks to the member of the public. So that's in place. I would also say that today, myself and the Deputy Clerk went up to the Council Chamber to undertake the same process. And we feel that the Council Chamber is, in terms of the current guidance around COVID, is not risk. We can't, there's no risk mitigation we could put in place that enable us to return to council in the chamber at this time, due to the stairs, because we can't socially distance, and we'd have to operate some bizarre one up, one down process, which would take us forever. And in the event of a fire, it's potentially a risk to human life. And also in the town hall, actually upstairs in the chamber, there isn't sufficient space for people to be protected in terms of social distancing, but also to get sufficient people in the room to be able for us to hold a council meeting, let alone any other form of meeting. So the Deputy Clerk's going to review that process again, but currently as it stands upstairs, we will be unable to return to the chamber for council meetings in the short term under the current policy. Does anyone else want to speak in relation to that item? No?
I think it should be noted as well, Chair, that Deputy Clerk has also carried out risk assessment in respect of the other members of staff.
Thank you.
And provided them with protective mask and hand sanitizer, etc. So I think we've looked at most of the places where we need to undertake this risk assessment, and it's been completed successfully, I feel.
Yes, I would agree with that. So in terms of the document that was shared with you today, Council, do you wish to vote to support the document? Yes, so can I have a proposer in terms of supporting the risk assessment that was completed on the community, the staff, the workmen, and also the chamber? So proposer is Councillor Vagg. Councillor Smith, are you seconding that proposal? And can I have a for if you're for the risk assessment? So I have Councillor Power, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgate, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Ralph. So that's everyone in support, and to note the great job that the Deputy Clerk has done in terms of completing that process for us. I just would also like to touch on a meeting that will take place once we've proposed a date, but once it's finalised, around the town offer. The town offer, as you probably remember, started in mid-March this year to support those vulnerable in our communities, those self-isolating, and those that were in hardship. That we reviewed that offer, which was a great offer, and as you probably remember, we did an awful lot of comms out about each element of that offer as we went through the spring into summer. Having reviewed it, we've actually started to reshape that offer, and there will be a meeting to look at what that would look like going forward. And as I previously stated, the community fridge will become part of that, as well as the community larder. But again, more on that. Councillor Power, you would like to speak.
Madam Chair, I did send you an email yesterday with some prints of ideas I did do for the lockdown plan. I haven't got them at the moment, I can't find them, but what I'll do tomorrow, I'll send them out to all councillors so that we can put it in for the next meeting for that one. Okay,
thank you. I'm sorry, Councillor Power, I don't remember seeing an email from you. I had one saying that you were sending the document. I just don't.
Yeah, that's one I can't find my printing.
Oh, stuff. Right. Okay. No problem. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for your commitment to supporting our town and the residents within it. So we look forward to hearing that. Yes, Councillor Vagg.
Bearing in mind what the county councillor said, we should make sure that when we discuss the town offer that we make everybody aware that there is this money at county level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. We need to find the comms associated with that and put that out through our Facebook page. I think that will be a good thing to do, and share it with all of the groups in the town. Councillor Power.
Might be a little bit expensive, but maybe we suggest we put leaflets through doors, because like when you think of the older residents, they might not have social media, they might not get magazines coming through the door. So I think like a little post-it with telephone numbers for helplines and stuff like that. I think that'll be more vital for them.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that worked really well last time, so we can relook at revisiting that once we define what the offer would look like going into autumn, December, into winter, and into the early part of the new year. But the offer is a moving feast. So in terms of where we are with this is just an update, a verbal update. Does anyone wish to just state that we note that verbal update, that we're looking at the town offer, and when we have more, we'll bring it back to council? Okay, is that a note? Thank you. Everyone's nodding. They aren't putting their hands up, but they're all nodding. Locum Clark, I believe. Apart from, is Councillor Smith nodding as well? Yes, I believe so. Thank you. Okay, moving on, if I may, to the next item on the agenda, which is the amended item, unless anyone tells me any differently, which is the Community Development Working Group for Youth Outreach. So colleagues would have heard I briefly outlined this previously when I set the amendment in place for this motion. And this is to establish a task and finish group, for want of a better word, with a range of stakeholders, including the police, youth service, including the Bolson Centre, a organisation that provides mobile youth outreach as well, has put themselves forward to work with us as a council and with our community, and the Hive. And in addition to this, we will be looking for young people to be part of it. Their voice and us listening to their voice needs to be at the heart of what we do, working with this community in our town. So the proposal is, as I've just given you a brief update, is 5 councillors who may wish to join this this working group for youth outreach. Are there any councillors who wish to be part of that? So I have myself, Councillor Power, Councillor Smith, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Ralph. Excellent, thank you for that. So do we need to propose and second that group, Locum Clark?
Yes, I think you should.
So can I have a proposer for the group that's just put their hands up? So I have a proposer, which is Councillor Tudgate, and a seconder, which is Councillor Smith. And can I have a vote for the working group around youth outreach, please? So that's Councillor Power, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgate, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Ralph. Thank you. I appreciate it. And there's no one against from what I've seen. The item that was here, if I just note, the terms of reference will follow in due course when the first meeting has been held. Councillor Vagg.
I was thinking that given Emma Hicks's contribution today, that we could invite her to that group as well, and as well as the groups you've already mentioned. I know for certain that the community church has a youth club of sorts. I don't know exactly, don't know the details. I think we should ask all the churches what youth groups they have, and also check with the Scouts and the Cadets as well. Make sure we get them from all over.
Yep, brilliant. Okay, so thank you for that. I appreciate that. Any other comments from council? No, thank you. The time is 2 minutes past 8. So we're now moving into the, sorry, I'm just checking which agenda I'm working to, because I've got the 2 going at the minute. The next item on the agenda 13, which was 13, is the annual community awards. So colleagues would have received some paperwork in relation to this. Before we look at those papers, I wanted to ask Council what your thoughts were on extending the time frame for the community awards. And if I may, I'd just like to set the scene in terms of why I think that would be an option this year. Firstly, COVID has meant that people are focused on lots of different things at the minute, some of which will be about their own employment or their health or other issues. And I wonder if we've had sufficient applications yet, because of the short time frame, to submit those within. Secondly, as a council, we will be unable to meet to award these community awards for the under 25s, for groups and individuals, until well into New Year. So I just wondered, rather than doing a short period of time this year, whether we as a council should consider a longer review period, maybe to the 9th of December, our last meeting in December. What is council's view on this? Because this is just a thought I was having because of where people are this year. Comments from council? So Councillor Vagg.
I'd take it even further forward. I would guess, the way things are looking at the moment, that we'd be unlikely to have anything like a meeting to make these awards, probably until Easter. So I don't see why we shouldn't extend the nominations into the new year, January or even February.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Councillor Vagg. Any other comments from council? Yes, Councillor Thomas.
I know we have had some nominations. I think it's 2 or 3 individuals. How many? I don't have much experience of this, but how many nominations do the council normally receive?
I'm going to offer it to long-established councillors. Councillor Tudgay.
Sometimes we only get 1 or 2. The number of nominations we've had is doesn't really come into it, I don't think, Ian, with respect.
Okay. No, I understand.
The other thing I would say personally, that this is an annual award, and I think it should remain as an annual award, in my opinion. The fact that we've had this COVID thing doesn't really alter the time span over which this award is presented. So I'm not sure that I would necessarily agree that and we could still present the awards even if we don't have an actual function at which we do that. We could present, you know.
I'm inclined to agree. I think there's nothing, given that everything is on Zoom now, there's no reason why, there's no reason why we can't do it on Zoom.
No.
I don't think. I think it is still an award. I think if we don't, I think it's a sort of a nod to normality if we could do it, rather than letting it overrun. Yes, if it looks like, if there's no sort of average number of people who are nominated, and I'm looking at the list now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's sort of 6 people, and there are how many? 13. How many awards are there exactly?
Councillor
3.
Vagg.
3 categories.
Youth group and individual, I think.
Okay, we've got an under 25 category, and then there's.
This year we extended it by adding the under 25. Normally,
Yes.
there's sort of an individual category and a group category. It is what's been in the past. And I think the group category was a relatively new addition to the list.
I don't think it would do any harm just to do them as normal, but not normally. You see what I mean?
Do them as normal, but not normally.
Yeah.
I agree, having listened to what you've said.
Okay. All right, so if that's the case, then do you want the to discuss the nominations tonight, or do you wish to put them forward to the next meeting, just so people have time to review? Councillor Ralph.
I would support moving them forward because
or back, sorry, to the next
sorry,
meeting.
back,
So it's
sorry.
my language, I apologise.
Because we have a list but no actual nomination form.
Yeah, I don't know what.
We'd
and
need
who,
to see the papers, wouldn't we?
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to look for a yes, Councillor Tugay.
Yes, that's a very good point. One I should have thought of. We should see the nomination forms and see what the people have nominated these people for, and then discuss it. So that, yes, Councillor Rolfe has made a very good point there. It's one I should have thought of. So yes, we definitely need to push it back or forward, whichever way you look at it, to the next meeting. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm
So-
quite willing to propose that we do push the date for the decision to the next meeting.
Thank you.
I'll
So,
second.
so proposed by Councillor Tugay to move it forward to the next meeting, seconded by Councillor Thomas, and a vote for. So we have Councillor Power, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tugay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrow, and Councillor Ralph. So at that meeting, you would receive all the nominations, and we will then decide who the vote is going to be allocating the vote. And I would familiarise yourself with the actual community awards process for that meeting. And if you need to know more, then we can share that actually as part of the sharing of the nomination forms. And we can then agree at the next meeting when and how we will award these awards. Is everyone happy with that as a process? Lovely. Locum Clerk, are you happy with the reporting of that?
Yeah,
excellent.
that's fine, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda, unless anyone tells me any different, is was number 15, correspondence. Yes?
Yep.
So
Yes.
we have 6 items of correspondence. So the first one is in relation to lights that are not working in Kale Park. I'm surprised this has come to council. Why would this normally come to council? Councillor Tugay, I'm going to ask for you.
I'm not sure the exact location of these lights, Chair, but I suspect that it's on the walkway from sort of the area around the shelter up through towards the doctor's surgery. And
Right.
the writer has said that they have contacted SSDC. SSDC have thrown them back to us. And this is because the land is currently not adopted. I would point the writer in the direction of Abbey Manor Homes, who own the land and are responsible for that. And I suggest that we also, as a council, contact Abbey Manor
Yes.
to try. This is an annual problem. I'm a little bit surprised that the number of the lights that the writer said was out. Usually we get 1 or 2, but I think she said 10. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
that's correct.
Which makes me think that perhaps the whole line is down. I obviously don't go down there in the dark to check.
No.
But that would be my course of action. I think we should adopt, Chair.
I agree with that. So, and also, when will this particular stretch of land be adopted? Is that like?
How long's a piece of string?
Okay, Councillor Ralph, did I see your hand go up?
Yeah, I just wanted to support what Councillor Tugay was saying, because this is not the first time, even in my short time on council, that I have heard this come up. It is all related to the adoption, which I know we can't influence, but I would support the fact that we should also write to the landowner, because, you know, this is not the first resident that's had this problem now. So any influence we can affect would be good.
Thank you. Can I just ask, Councillor Tugay, this is an annual issue, is it?
It seems to be, yes, or an ongoing issue, I would say. But of course, it only manifests itself when we have the dark nights, you know, or the darker mornings. So yes, it seems to be an ongoing problem. I believe Abbey Manor turned up at some point last year and repaired some of the lights. So I'm quite confident they will do that, but it's more
Yes.
a question of when they will do it.
It sounds to me like someone's potentially gone through the wire if 10 have gone out. That's a large sum.
Yeah, I would suspect there's something more than a light bulb not working. Yes.
Thank you. So the response back to the member of the public is we would invite them to contact Abbey Manor and saying their concerns about the lights, and we as a council will contact Abbey Manor and ask that the issue is resolved. Yes, Councillor Tudgay?
It might be useful to put Abbey Manor's contact details in the response
Yes.
to the member of public, and then they won't have to go and hunt it out themselves.
Yes, we'll ask that that's done. Thank you. Do we just note that, Locum Clerk?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 2 on the correspondence list is a letter sent via email to all councils re the town meeting. So colleagues would have received the letter that was dated the 15th of October. Do colleagues have any comments they wish to make at this time before I speak? No? Okay, so in terms of number 2, the correspondence regarding the town meeting, a further letter will be drafted in accordance with the LGA 1972 Schedule 12 in response to the questions that a member of the public has raised with council, and that response will be shared tomorrow. If there's no further comment from council, which I'm seeing there isn't. So Locum Clerk, do you wish to note that, or would you like us to formally vote that a further response will be shared?
Oh, I would note all these correspondence ones so far, the 2 anyway.
Thank you. The third one, unless there's any comments, I'm moving on to the third item, which is antisocial behaviour in response to in response to a letter a resident received from Wincanton Town Council in reply to an earlier email regarding antisocial behaviour. So this resident contacted us, I believe, through our website. We subsequently responded to the resident, and the resident has now come back with a further response. Does council have any further comments they wish to make? Yes, Councillor Ralph.
I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that Gavin is still frustrated, because I really do feel that we've been putting a lot of action in on this issue. And I hope tonight's meeting has further shown that we are still working on this. And I hope that a number of residents have spoken to me about their frustration, and I'm frustrated too, but I feel there's no quick fix for this. And we are bringing all the different groups together that we need to solve this problem. So I hope that he can have a bit more faith in us, that we're still working towards this, and we will reach a solution.
Thank you. Other councillors wish to make a comment? Councillor Vag.
I'm just wondering, I did look at some of the threads on social media. There was some talk of objects being thrown at cars. We don't know how many objects or what objects they were. And I just wonder, and some people on the thread did say, well, this should be reported to the police. And I just wonder if the police have received any reports, because people speaking about this on social media doesn't do anything.
Yes.
Is there any way of us checking with the police that anything has been reported to them?
Yes, I can do that, or I'll ask the deputy clerk to contact the police and gain an understanding of that, so we can do that. I think in terms of our response, councillors would have seen our response to Mr. Lewis previously. The response, I think, still remains. There is an issue that it is not the council's responsibility to police antisocial behaviour, that sits with the police if it's breaching law, and or parents around their support, advice and guidance to the young people. As a council, we take our responsibility seriously in terms of our role to ensure we comply, for example, in national policy around COVID, and ensuring that we meet requirements, which I understand we've done. But in terms of antisocial behaviour, I'm still unclear where that it sits with us as a council, and I would welcome councillors to state if they feel we need to think differently about this, other than the actions we've currently taken, which is the working group and working directly with the police and other youth groups and a range of other stakeholders. No? Councillor Tugye.
I think the approach you're taking is the correct approach, Chair. I really don't know what else as you quite correctly said, it's not our responsibility to police this. That said, we should, however, do what we can to try and stop the instance of antisocial behaviour. I would also like to add that in his original letter, I believe Mr. Lewis, is that the gentleman's name? Yes.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Lewis spoke of CCTV cameras and the like. And even if we went down that route, it's not a tomorrow fix. It would take us a long time to raise the funds and it would be quite a costly exercise to put CCTV in down there. And it wouldn't happen this side of Christmas, or possibly this side of middle of next year. So I think that needs to be considered as well. And I think the approach we're taking is the right approach. And we just need to appeal to everybody to a bit less of this social media and a bit more, common sense around this matter, if I may say.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Councillor Tugye. So do we need to respond further? Or I'm meaning, because I don't want to be rude and not respond to the member of the public, but equally, if we're reiterating the same message.
I think out of courtesy, we should reply to Mr. Lewis and engage with Mr. Lewis. If Mr. Lewis has ideas that we haven't thought of other than CCTV with respect to him, I think we should certainly reply to him just out of courtesy.
Thank you for that. So, Council, can I ask, are there any further comments anyone would wish to make? No? So, as a council, we will respond back to Mr. Lewis, thanking him for his contact and giving him further assurance on the actions we're taking, and also invite him to potentially have a voice in what we're doing in terms of our work with the youth outreach in the town. Thank you for that. I will ensure that happens. The next item on the agenda is 4, which is on behalf of Wincanton's Royal British Legion and poppies displayed in the town on the 8th of November, but also related to the 11th, I think it is, for the Old Faithful, and asking them whether or not they wish to have the poppies displayed, because they're no longer parading this year due to COVID. So this clearly acknowledges the fact they wish to have the poppies displayed. Our councillors, and I thank them for coming forward with that, are there any other comments from council at this time around the poppies and displaying the poppies?
I really think you should.
Pardon, Councillor?
I really think we should.
Yes, I agree.
It's a lovely display, and just because we can't do parades or anything, we mustn't forget these special dates.
No, I agree. I would agree as a member of the public, let alone a councillor. Councillor Tugye.
Yes, I think they should be. I agree. I think they should be displayed. It would be interesting to know what amount of the large poppies we have left in stock, or if any at all. And I think that's something we should get on to as soon as possible to make sure that we've got some ready to put up. We're a bit behind schedule on this, really. We already ought to have done it. But I think someone needs to speak to Steve in the morning to see you know, if there are any in stock.
Thank you. Councillor Ralph.
Just to reassure councillors, I've already discussed this with Steve Lee and Muriel, so it's very much in their plan. But that it is true that it's been quite a few years since we bought the poppies, and just due to general wear and tear, the collection is depleted. So going forward, it may be something we want to look at in terms of building our stock back up of poppies.
Okay, thank you. It will, perhaps from that point going into precept, it would be helpful to understand the costs and the number that we're actually looking at to ensure we have sufficient poppies to put around the marketplace, the town, and if required up, if they wish, up near the Memorial Hall. So can I leave you with that with you, Councillor Ralph, to have that discussion? Thank you. So in terms of us as a council supporting it, what I'm hearing is we're supporting it. Do you wish to vote on that formally to acknowledge that we as a council support the poppies on the 8th and the 11th of November? Councillor Tudgay.
Yes, I would like to propose that this council supports that action.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Tudgay. Councillor Power, are you seconding that motion? Thank you. Can I have a 4, please, for the poppies to go into place to support the remembrance on the 8th and the 11th for the Old Faithful? So we have Councillor Power 4, Councillor Thomas, Councillor Tudgay, Councillor Waters, Councillor Vagg, Councillor Smith, Councillor Shelbourne-Barrett and Councillor Ralph. Thank you, and no one against. Thank you for that, and we will confirm the work associated with that. The next item on the agenda is research questions, small market towns. Council, any comments from council in relation to point 5, which my point 5 has gone awry. So I'm not sure. I think it's now 6 on my pack. Yes, it is 6. So councillors, Councillor Ralph, comments?
Just like to encourage councillors to take part if they can. It's very hard for people to get research and primary data they need for things like this. So, you know, it's in all our benefit to take part, because then the research may benefit our work going forward.
Thank you for that. Very good point, Councillor Ralph. Any other comments? If not, I would ask councillors, we won't vote on it because this is down to individuals, but to formally engage with this if you so wish, so that we can have a voice in this research that's being undertaken. And the final point on our agenda tonight is an email from SSDC to do a free digital training on how to market and sell food and drink online. Councillors, this is a workshop available to small businesses. It's free. Any comments? If not, we'll look to circulate this more widely across the town. No comments, just right. So I hear a lot of nodding, which suggests to me we're supportive of sharing it through the Chamber of Commerce and through local businesses in the town, so they can. England European Regional Development Fund. Interesting title. Bearing in mind what's heading towards us at the end of this year, because there's lots of non-pound signs in here. So can I ask that you look at this and share this appropriately with other small businesses in the town, because I think this is a great resource and it would be great to be able to promote that and for people to use it. Okay, no other comments, just to note. In terms of the agenda today, that is the full agenda completed. Are there any items for the agenda other than what we've already noted? So we've noted AGAR. We've also noted planning, committee terms of reference, the community development terms of reference, finance report. Yes, Councillor Ralph, would you like to propose another item?
Yes, the Personnel Committee should hopefully be forwarding the absent management policy for ratification.
Thank you. any other items? Because I've looked at the ones we've moved forward
The
tonight.
annual community awards.
Annual, thank you, Councillor Dudgay. Excellent, we've already got a full agenda. The other bit we need to be aware of is Area East meeting is coming up, and we need to look at the agenda to see if there's any items on that agenda we need to discuss at council. And if with the regeneration board, there are any items within that that need to come to council just to be cited, but also to comment. If there are any other items, then please feel free to contact the deputy clerk. But if that is everything for tonight, then I wish to close this meeting. Oh, finance, I did finance, didn't I?
Councillor
Precept.
Groskop has popped
Oh,
up.
sorry, Councillor Gross.
Precept you haven't put on.
Yes, thank
Oh.
you. That's what I was looking at. As you were saying it, I was looking down at finance and thinking I didn't say precept. Precept and the 3-year plan outline, but most importantly, it's the date. So thank you for that, Councillor Groskop.
That's okay.
Thank you, appreciated. So at
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. At
you, Anna.
2028, I want to thank you all for tonight, for a very positive meeting. And I look forward to further conversations on the community wards, amongst others, as it's a very exciting annual event for this town, amongst the poppies and everything else that we do and the good work. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening. And thank you, Locum Clark.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Richard.
Bye-bye.